You're right, guys, today we'll be doing a mega video predicting next season's Premier League top 6 and relegation strugglers.
We don't even know who will be in the Premier League next season. The transfer window hasn't even opened. You don't know what you're talking about.
True, and probably true. However, based on a little bit of prediction, intuition, and the help of my trusty crystal ball, I think I may be able to foresee how England's top division will pan out next year. Then again, this is the Prem we're talking about. Yeah, that league where relegation scramblers managed to topple the Giants and take the trophy. And despite what your friend says, he did not conveniently predict that Leicester would be Premier League champions. Funny how he never mentioned that until after it happens. Anyway guys, before we get into it, although this video may look fairly average, it took a lot of effort to make. So if you could drop a sub and like, I'll love you forever. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and feel free to rinse me if you disagree with any of my choices in this video or in wider life. Whatever you fancy. But before we get into it, I must add that this video hinges on a few assumptions. I know what you're thinking. He's got some nerve starting his channels with if, buts, and maybes. To you, I say, just hear me out. Firstly, we are assuming that West Brom, whose fate is pretty much sealed with them being 7 points adrift at the bottom, Stoke and Southampton go down. Palace could very well be there too, so could about 4 who I predicted to stay up, but I feel that they have enough quality with Zaha, Townsend and the returning Loftus-Cheek to keep them safe for another year in the Prem. However, there's still a lot in it, with many relegation 6-pointers left in the final games. Secondly, we are assuming that Wolves, Cardiff and Fulham are promoted. Admittedly, I've seen very little of the Championship this year, but based on the little empirical evidence I do have and a quick look at the table, these seem to be the strongest candidates. Obviously, the playoffs traditionally pose upset, but I feel that Fulham, for me, have the best chance of getting promoted. Who knows though, we may see the return of the mighty Derby County come early August in the glorious First Division. Hopefully they do a little better than last time though. And there's more where they came from, but for the sake of not boring you out of your mind, I'll try to embed these within the rest of my predictions. Now, on to the part that we have all waited for, the predictions. In 20th, we have West Ham. Yes, it will be commiserations for the Hammers next season, as I feel they'll go down rock bottom, 2011 style. The structure of that club is collapsing, with deadly duo David Gold and David Sullivan under intense pressure from West Ham fans due to an extensive run of poor form after the club's dream move to the prestigious Olympic Stadium. This season they've been treading on a thin line with relegation throughout, with my assumption that them staying afloat this season possibly seeming a tad generous to a few ears. I just feel like they have talent in some areas, with the likes of Arnautovic, Reed and Lanzini, but are susceptible to exposure due to a serious lack of depth in many areas of the squad, particularly in defence, with the old and still slow James Collins consistently called upon to marshal the back. The thing is, they have attacking threat too. Arnautovic, Antonio Hernandez and Lanzini are quality players who have talents to offer. However, it's a question of gelling them and facilitating them in the system which they all thrive, which Moyes just doesn't have the tactical awareness to pull off. Most likely, however, is that these talented players will jump off the sinking ship, leaving West Ham with a serious rebuilding job in attack, which I wouldn't trust that board to make a good job of. I mean, they don't exactly have a great record of signing strikers, with past signings such as Marouane Chamakh, Benny McCarthy and Simone Zaza. That terrible trio amassed a mighty 0 goals in 27 games between them. Farewell, West Ham. It was good knowing you.
And in 19th place, we have Fulham.
Unfortunately, Fulham's return to the Premier League will be short-lived, with them soon finding themselves in a relegation scrap, probably around October. You see, their at times free-scoring championship form may spill into the life in the Prem, but this will probably be most similar to the Huddersfield effect. Possibly starting emphatically, capturing the hearts of neutral supporters, then declining, but at this time at a faster rate than the Terriers, with European giants such as PSG and Manchester United circling like sharks for wonder kid Ryan Sessegnon, who is their top scorer from left-back. They are surely bound to part ways with yet another young starlet. This would free up cash, a much-needed entity for teams coming up, but even with attacking talent such as Lucas Piazon, Stefan Johansson and Tom Kearney, who are all improving in the Premier League may I add, their defensive record, even in the Championship, is not spectacular, with 41 goals conceded, especially when you compare it to fellow promoted team Cardiff, who've conceded a mere 33 goals as of the 6th of April. A leaky defence will surely be punished by experienced Premier League sides, meaning that their fate is surely sealed. Sorry Fulham fans, but your stay in the Premier League will be a short one. Next stop, back to the Championship.
And in 18th place, we have Swansea City.
Another team that have been dancing on a fine line this season, and for the last few seasons at that. Their saving grace has been Carlos Carvajal, who, with Swansea's managerial record, will probably be out of employment by next January. Swansea are far from the entertaining, fluid team that they were in the early stages of Premier League life. Now they're drab, with a model that is unsustainable. they are bound to pay the price eventually. With Tammy Abraham's departure due to his loan expiration, they are left with uninspiring options up top, a constantly injured Wilfred Boney and a goal-deprived Jordan Ayew. One thing is for sure, they need severe attacking reinforcements this summer, with Porto's Musa Marega allegedly on the wish list. Contrastingly, their defensive record seems okay, especially relative to their rivals at the bottom, but when you factor in the departing Alfie Mawson, who has been a mainstay for them, things could look bad if they don't find a replacement who fits the system and is a natural leader, a mantle in which young Alfie has no qualms in upholding. Put simply, Swansea are in trouble. They need an outstanding transfer window, their rivals to slip up, and a lot of luck if they plan to be in the top flight come next decade.
But now, it's time for the top 6. And in 6th place, we have Arsenal.
In all honesty, this probably won't come as a surprise at all. Should Wenger clinch the Europa League and thus Champions League football for next season, he'll probably keep his job. That means more turmoil for Arsenal, more jubilation for outsiders, and, perhaps most importantly, more viral content from our best mate, Robbie.
Arsene Wenger is finished. Finished.
Honestly, next year we'll probably see him rock up on Dragon's Den, dishing out a 6-figure investment with his puffer jacket and Arsenal strip. True to form. On the off chance that Wenger does leave, it doesn't matter what manager they bring in, a period of transition is needed. That means another season at the bottom of the pile of their rivals due to an unbalanced squad filled with deadweight. A centre-back is desperately needed, with Greek stalwart Socrates on the cards, a viable option considering the newfound links with Dortmund thanks to their ex-Dortmund chief scout, Sven Mislintat. It'd be a solid pairing with Mustafi, with Socrates offering more than a constantly injured Koscielny by way of passes per 90, with Socrates getting around 64 compared to Koscielny's 61, and tackles won, with Socrates nearly doubling Koscielny's numbers per 90. So that somewhat sorts that. However, they do also need a defensive midfielder, with Xhaka proving tactically unaware and uninspiring in his role. They need to find a no-nonsense player who snuffs out danger, perhaps in the Casemiro mould, and complements their frightful attack. But this actually could be their downfall. To find a system that accommodates Wilshere, Ozil, Lacazette, Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang is nigh on impossible. They need a coach who can do this or maintain a balance. However, this may result in either Lacazette or Aubameyang being pushed out wide. Aubameyang was pushed wide in his early Dortmund days and was trash, and Lacazette hasn't played on the flanks for years. Thus, I propose that one of them must go. Given that Lacazette is less popular with the fans and probably sells marginally less shirts, I'd shift him. A huge loss for Arsenal given the gargantuan fee they paid for him last summer.
And in 5th place, we have Chelsea.
As much as I hate to admit it, Chelsea could be in trouble next season. With the loss of superstar Eden Hazard, we are left with a squad that seems to be devoid of quality across the board. Although Conte is set to leave and Allegri or Simeone are set to come in, a spending spree is required to bolster our squad in order for us not to miss out on top 4 for a 2nd year running. Let's face it, the dream is done. We'll love Thursday nights though. Our replacement David Luiz isn't perhaps necessary, as Allegri may play the progressive 4-3 and Simeone will most likely play his trusted 4-4-2. However, another striking option is in order, with Morata proving to be far from the level of rival number 9s such as Aguero, Kane and Lukaku. Lewandowski is a dream option, however nothing short of wildly far-fetched. Furthermore, Hazard would need to be replaced, which will come at a heavy price. This seems to be in the form of James Rodriguez, who can fluidly fit into a system as a Dybala-like floating 10 under Allegri or flair winger under Simeone. Pjanic is rumoured to join, which would give creativity in midfield, something that we've been lacking despite the recent addition of Danny Drinkwater. Next season could be a hit or miss, depending on our activity in the summer. If it was like that of last summer, we could be in trouble. However, if we manage to keep our star and pad out our squad with quality, we can really compete. That's why picking this top 4 is so difficult.
And in 4th place, we have Tottenham.
Yes, for me, Tottenham clinched that coveted Champions League spot. Alderweireld, who incidentally happens to be the best defender in the league, looks to be on the way out. However, I trust Poch to weather this storm and bring in a suitable replacement, if that's even needed. Davinson Sanchez, who is only 21, has looked comfortable slotting in when needed, whether in a back 3 or back 4. And should they bring in his ex-Ajax teammate Matthijs de Ligt, they will be well equipped with an incredible ball-playing centre-back to rival the big Belgian, with the 18-year-old posting an impressive 89% pass completion rate this season in the Eredivisie, compared to Alderweireld's still impressive 86%. Their attack bodes well too. The combination of Son, Ali, Eriksen and the free-scoring Harry Kane is deadly, given that they can keep hold of the latter two especially. Kane has pledged his future to the club, and Eriksen doesn't really fit in with the long-term admirers Barcelona, considering the recent purchase of Philippe Coutinho. So for now, at least, Spurs fans can rest easy, knowing that their stars will line up on the new White Hart Lane next season. Their midfield looks frightening too, with their only weakness perhaps being in defensive midfield, for someone who can spray the ball and aid that deadly attack. Ali is learning in his new role as a number 8, but is willing to step up in his former and more familiar role as a supporting striker. Moussa Dembele has been an asset in midfield, with his only fault being his ability to make incisive passes like a De Bruyne or Fabregas. With Hamburg starlet Jan Fetty on the radar for a possible backup to Harry Kane, they look to be bringing in young talent, which Pochettino is one of the best at developing. I can't lie, things look good for Spurs' foreseeable future. I'm a little jealous.
And in third place, we have Manchester United.
That is right, I'm predicting that Man United get third place, securing them Champions League football. Although this is a respectable finish given the competition and offer, I feel that Mourinho's third season syndrome will overcome him. You see, United this season have played dire football, with Mourinho constantly looking to stop the opposition rather than attack them head on. Their star player Paul Pogba hasn't been given free rein, constantly being played deep in midfield, meaning United can't reach their full potential. I predict that next season United fans will have had enough of Mourinho's drab style, causing him to be sacked. The squad is decent though, with attacking options such as Lukaku, Rashford, Martial and Sanchez being more than enough to compete at the level in which they ought to. Personally, I think they need to find a centre-back partnership that is consistent and works for them to be successful. I would suggest the Lindelof-Bailly dynamic, with Lindelof acting as a ball player and Bailly as an aggressor. Lindelof has had little game time at centre-back despite his big money move from Benfica last season, so needs to be given more trust in order for him to adapt fully to the league. Furthermore, I think they need to stick with the 3 in midfield, with Matic sitting, Pogba on the left, and Lingard as a workhorse on the right. This workhorse could be Milinkovic-Savic, Vidal, or Koke, all linked with United. Whatever happens, I think United will have a solid season, for want of a better word. They'll lose their manager, but it won't be too harmful given they find a suitable replacement promptly, and they probably will get top 4. Again, pretty solid.
And in second place, we have Manchester City.
Their midfield is perfectly balanced, with perhaps an understudy to an aging Fernandinho needed, possibly in the form of Julian Weigl, a deep-lying playmaker like Busquets, who is young and full of development. Their attacking options are frightening too, whether Aguero or Jesus is chosen as first-choice striker. The defensive options are strong too, with Otamendi coming on leaps and bounds this season, a company who has been solid with fit, and the 2 rough around the edges ball players in Stones and Laporte. And with the returning Mendy and Kyle Walker on the flanks, either as wing-backs in a back 3 or full-backs in a 4, they seem to be well kitted in these areas. The weakness seems to be against the press, which I feel more teams will employ against them, seeing Liverpool's success with it, meaning they'll drop a few more points than this year.
And in first place, we have Liverpool.
Speaking of Liverpool, I think they may just be able to clinch their first Premier League, with a tight finish hoped for and expected by me. Given they can keep Salah, and that is a must, their attacking firepower is overwhelming for any team, and when you compound that with the arrival of Naby Keita, they will score so many goals. They do need a higher quality DM. I don't trust Henderson's ability to play incisive balls with their attack. A possible option could be Jorginho, who has thrived in a 4-3-3 at Napoli and can drop deep to pick the ball up and spray it around. The defence still raises questions for me, with a solid partner for Van Dijk necessary. Lovren, mate, you just aren't good enough. I suggest long-term target Stefan de Vrij. He and Van Dijk are partners in the national team's defence and has been solid as a rock for the last few seasons in Serie A. Karius' recent string of good performances has allowed him to temporarily avoid criticism. However, they're still haunting Roma's Alisson, who boasts the highest save percentage in Serie A, 80%, due to his dominant goal-kicking style and cat-like reflexes. Should they bring him in, they will surely leak less goals. With a combination of all these things, I think Klopp will manage to bring the trophy home to Anfield, playing vibrant football throughout. Well, that's it then. It's a little sad, I must say, but all good things must come to an end. Let me know if you would like me to do a full 20-team prediction video before next season begins, and if you please drop a like and subscribe for more content like this, I'd very much appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.